Well, good morning. I've just come back from my swim, and maybe you can see this t-shirt with the wolves on. Isn't it nice? Anyway, that bloody dog across the back was barking at 6:30 this morning, so of course I had to bring my lot in. I haven't heard it so far since, and hopefully it won't. Anyway, I've been thinking this morning about how some things which sort of appear truly awful and dreadful at the time can actually be your saving grace. I'm drinking my coffee while I talk to you. Like, the fact that I wasn't loved by my parents made it impossible for me to believe that Jesus loved me or that God loved me. And it was very apparent to me that the Jesus freaks that were around me have been Catholic, Jehovah's Witness and Born Again Twat, just in case you didn't know this. But fundamentalism has played its role in my life to a very detrimental... Well, maybe not actually, maybe not so detrimental, because I overcame it. Anyway, this whole thing about Jesus loved me, or God loved me, because the Jehovah's Witness don't go on about Jesus. They don't believe that, well, they don't believe quite the same thing, but I'm not getting into that. What I am getting into is the fact of why this attitude saved me from becoming one of these awful people. See, I understood that none of the people involved in these religions who were desperately trying to convert me loved me either. I mean, it was quite clear to me that they didn't. They didn't find me acceptable at all, just like my parents. So why would I think that their God did? You know, and it's that itself that saved me. And I say saved me because these people do other people an awful lot of damage. They do a huge amount of damage to people. Just look at the world that we live in, you know, and much of it can be blamed upon religion, or set at the foot of religion, or whatever the bloody phrase is, but it's their fault. It's the fault of religion and the twisted thinking. Now, this has got bugger all to do with whether there is a God or not. You know, that is really beside the point. What isn't beside the point is their beliefs, and they're forcing these beliefs upon other people, or the terrible thing they do to one's own thinking. Now, can you imagine that my perceptions of daily life were constantly challenged? Were basically, pussy, shut up! Were basically denied. And if I mean, that's as far as the abuse was concerned, you know, it didn't happen. So in that sense, of course, my reality was denied, and it made me feel really quite crazy. And so it wasn't just that, you know, it wasn't me remembering stuff. I mean, even that particular day, and then a few hours later saying it never happened. I mean, that's just, can you imagine what that does to one's mind, particularly, you know, if one's only a child still, or a young teen. But that's what happened to me all of the time, right into adulthood. So, you know, if I feel now that somebody is lying to me, or they don't remember something the way I remember it, I can get very, very worked up about it. Well, I guess actually that has even lessened. I don't, because I feel so much stronger within myself. Anyway, getting back to this religion business and what I was taught. You see, if I dared to question anything It was never because I had a mind, a questioning mind, which was good. No, far from it. It was because the devil was putting these doubts there, or that I was possessed by demons, which made me question, which made me ask questions of the elders that they could not answer, or the nuns and priests that they could not answer, or later on, the born again vicar, the fundamentalist vicar, I should say, because the whole born again business is such a load of horse shit. They don't know what they're talking about. I've been born again, that's for sure. And I mean it in its true sense, is that I am a very different person to the one that I was. And I came out of my chrysalis 4 years ago, when I finally realised that the fault had never been mine, that what happened to me would have happened to any child that was in my position and in my family. It had nothing to do with who I was. And that was the real breakthrough for me. Wasn't just it, but that was the final icing on the cake for me. So in other words, I came to believe that my intelligence and my questioning mind wasn't me, that it was the devil, and that everything I thought that was contrary to what these people were telling me. I remember the born-again Christian, the fundamentalist Christian, telling me that it was unforgivable to read the Bible and not believe it. But there's just so much in there that you couldn't believe, or you oughtn't to believe, along with all the wickedness. I mean, it's a foul, disgusting book. And these poncy people that go on about, oh, it's such wonderful literature, well, fuck off. Who cares? It's nasty. And it teaches nasty things. Really nasty things. People have been burned because of it. Burned alive. Can you imagine that? And people... Oh, I'm going to calm down. I'm not going to get started. So, anyhow, you see, none of these people made me feel good. None of them. They never made me feel accepted. They never made me feel loved. They never made me feel I was okay, that I was acceptable, that I was worthy, or that I was worth anything. And that's why they didn't succeed in converting me. And thank God they didn't. Really. Just thank God they did not. And I'm fully aware that there are lots of people who were just like me, who did convert, who did manage to convert, either out of fear or because they were shown this false love. And I call it false because a love that is not accepting is false. It's a lie. The whole thing is a lie. And I remember it's truly very sad, the damage that... the nightmares I used to have and the sleepless nights I used to have. And the terrible, terrible fear. Fear really is the worst emotion there is. And it's of course part of grief. It's tempting to say that grief is the worst possible emotion, but grief is a mixture of fear and desolation and abandonment, and to feel completely alone. And then we have these so-called liberal Christians who don't believe in hell. Well, I should hope not. So what they believe instead is that your punishment for not being a Christian is eternal abandonment, and that is just as wicked. They don't get it. I mean, that's not liberal at all. That is foul. It's disgusting. It is evil. These people clearly have no idea what abandonment feels like. None at all. So, if you're out there and you're wondering if this is still affecting you today, that there are people around you telling you what you must believe, and that, your very soul is in peril if you don't believe. Well, that in itself is the lie. It works, of course, particularly when you get people young. Which is why there are faith schools, and which is why people bring their children up in their religion. There's no such thing as a Muslim child, or a Jewish child, or a Hindu child, or a Christian child, or a Star Trek child, whatever it is. There's a Star Trek religion, isn't there? Or is it a Star Wars religion? The, what are they called? The Jedi. And anyway, there's no such thing. All these children have been corrupted by the adults around them. I hate it. Absolutely detest it. I saw a child recently that was quite clearly all done up for Holy Communion. She was a girl child. And I hadn't really realised until just this second that she basically was wearing a wedding gown. And I knew that, this was her first communion. Such a wicked thing to do to a child. We all tend to think of wickedness as serial killers or the sexual abuse of children, when the mental and emotional abuse of children is far, far more damaging. And I feel that for me, I can say that, having experienced sexual, physical and emotional and mental, the sexual and physical you get over. Yeah, it does cause problems. It caused problems in every single area of my life. From my eating, from my toilet habits, from my sexual behaviour. There isn't one area of my life that has not been blighted. And now I'm stuck with a body that has rebelled completely. And but it's okay, I can live with that because my mind is fine. I feel that the jigsaw that I used to be has now all been put together, and that I'm not this fragmented soul that I used to be. It's all come together and I am who I am. And the physical pain that I experience just all the time is a doddle compared to the emotional anguish that I used to feel. Seriously. Physical pain is just so much easier to deal with. So much easier. You pop pills for a start. You can't pop a pill and your emotional pain goes away. All it does is suppress it. But pills do deal with pain, and not completely. You must understand that. Anybody out there, again, with pain problems, or newly with pain problems, do not believe that painkillers will solve it. I've taken a lot of stuff for pain. I take 4 different drugs for pain, including morphine. And for most people, morphine is the one everybody knows about, and they think it's, it's a really big deal because it's a big drug. It's heroin based, it's an opiate, and therefore it must really make you feel good. Not even that gets rid of it all completely. And you must understand that pain does not go 100%. It makes it livable with. It would be lovely just to not feel for 5 minutes. It happens very occasionally where I'll just suddenly realise, oh, I'm not in any pain at all. I'm not aching anywhere, nothing's hurting. But they're rare, and there isn't a pill that does that. The only ones that do is a good dose of sleeping pills, which knock you out. And when you sleep, you really sleep, you know, a black, dark sleep. That sounds horrible. That's not quite what I mean. What I mean is a completely dreamless sleep, maybe for 6 hours. But one can't do that very often. Anyhow, listen, have a good day if you've managed to get this far. And have I sworn? I don't know. Did I? Well, I certainly probably haven't sworn very much today. Oh, but fuck it, I'm a swearer. Oh dear, I still have that little devil in me. But I've accepted him. And clearly some of you have too. Oh dear, I can imagine if some fundies have managed to get this far watching this, they're probably doing the sign of the cross over themselves right now because they feel that they've been soiled by Satan. Soiled by Satan. Oh dear me. Yes, okay. You do realise, of course, it's left me slightly crazy. But I'm going. Bye.